Are you still the richest woman in Africa?
I've never really viewed myself as that. I've always viewed myself as an entrepreneur.
But you are still regarded Africa's richest woman. Very difficult to run away from that.
That has been said about me. But I'm also my country's largest private employer. I've created over 200,000 jobs. I've been one of my country's largest taxpayers and contributed the most to build Angola's economy.
How much access do you have to money right now?
Oh,
How
you'd be
much
you'd
money?
be surprised because it is something that I will not answer the question, not because I do not wish to answer, but truly because it's not something that I find relevant. It's not really a piece of information that I go and I look into.
2016, your father appoints you to be in charge of the Angolan state oil company, Sonangol. Of all the people in Angola who could have been qualified for this particular job, why did your father choose you?
If you look at the oil prices, there's a historic drop, very, very significant drop in 2014 and 15 that created a ripple effect into the Angolan oil sector, making it very, very difficult for Angola to raise money from oil as it used to before. I was invited by the Ministry of Finance, the Minister of Finance, to provide some advice, some strategic advice
Why you?
on
Did you
what
have some sort of
I mean.
understanding of the oil industry? Were you an oil expert? Were you an expert in oil and gas?
So I have a particular knowledge of turning around companies, of taking companies that are not doing well, that have a difficult time and need to be more efficient, and to drive them to efficiency. And this is what they were looking for.
There's only one way to ask you this question. Have you ever used government funds for personal enrichment?
No, I have not. My companies haven't been funded by the Angolan government. I've never received subsidies by the Angolan government. I've never received a state loan. I've never received a state grant. I haven't never received state funding to build my businesses.
Why is the government saying that you did? And please don't
Well,
say it's a
look,
political witch hunt.
of course it is. I think President Lorenzo didn't stay true to the political party's views, and he started blaming the past, saying that everything that happened before him was bad and everything that's going to happen with him would be good. But he himself is from the MPLA. He was the vice president of the party. He was Minister of Defense. His wife was Minister of Economy. And if anything, I think he had a lot more to do with the Angolan economy and the Angolan decision making and the political decision making than most Angolans. The freezing order came as an ex parte. Ex parte means just all of a sudden, without you knowing, secretly, your assets are frozen. We've been waiting 5 years to start this court case. And please bear in mind that this is a civil freezing order, so it's not even a criminal freezing order.
Why would the government of Angola, Portugal, and the UK say that your business associates are mired in corruption and then all freeze your assets? Are you saying they were colluding, that Downing Street was colluding with Luanda?
Portugal and Angola have a treaty that's called the CPLP, so it's a treaty of Portuguese speaking countries. And any decision that Angola makes, any judgment or any decision, gets implemented by Portugal without it looking whether the decision has merits or not. So, because there is a treaty, if Angola orders, Portugal automatically then executes a freezing order. As to the UK, I think that definitely the decision was wrong. It wasn't completely unjustified as well. And I hope that I'm given the chance to clarify it. There was no due process. It was just a political decision.
You understand governments are constantly trying to attract investors, so freezing assets of business people isn't an option for many governments. One would wonder why they do that to you.
Yes, I'm a leading investor in Angola. I still have my CEOs and companies are still running. I still employ over 10,000 people. I'm still one of the largest taxpayers. Over 15 million people watch my TV network. The telecom company I built is still the largest telecom company in Angola. But in Angola, my case, it's definitely a case of political persecution. There's no doubt about that. I think the Angolan public opinion is aware of that, and hopefully one day it will become even more clear.
I wonder if you'd understand that our listeners will see you as one of the richest women in Africa, and your country one of the poorest, and they'll remember that your name is Isabel dos Santos and say, aha, president's daughter.
Yes. Now, you mentioned something very interesting. You say that my country is one of the poorest. I have to say that Angola is the first or the second largest oil producer in the continent. And there are many businesses and many business people that make money in Angola. I think that opportunities in Africa are for Africans. Opportunities in our continent
And
are
it
for
helps if your
us,
father is the
for us to
president.
develop. By virtue of the family that I'm born to, yes, I'm more exposed to the world, to people. I get better network, I get better contacts. That's true. I have to
Right. But
recognize that. But those are contacts, networks, opportunities. Then how you go and you implement that? How do you go and then develop that? Are you able to build something out of that? And especially if it's in the private sector, then that's already on your shoulders. So I've, on purpose, I guess, chosen to always work in the private sector where there's competition with these other players. So I don't work in a monopoly market. I did not work with government contracts. I was not a supplier to the government. I was not a supplier to the state.
do you sometimes just wish you'd been an engineer or a teacher?
No, no. Look, I think I'm a pioneer. I'm doing something that's difficult. It's fairly recent that we start getting entrepreneurs in the continent. And I started working in 1996, 97, 98. In those days, you didn't even hear about those things. And I'm happy I did it. I'm happy I was part of the transformative, positive change in Africa to create African businesses owned by Africans. And what I would like to do is to see more of it. I like young people, young Africans to do the same, and that our opportunities stay with us, stay in our land, and that we create jobs for us, Africans in Africa.
When they say that your assets are frozen, are you broke? What does it look like when you're
Right.
broke?
Well, yes, no, I have no access to the dividends, so I'm barred from receiving dividends. I'm barred from receiving any financial contributions from my companies. I don't have any criminal charges against me in Angola or in Portugal, formal charges. I don't have criminal proceedings in courts in Angola or in Portugal. And this is why, to me, the decision by the UK government, I mean, it's a political decision. It's not a decision that spun out of a judgment. Actually came as a bit of a surprise.
What do you think is the case? What's going on here?
So the Angolan state media claims that this is a diplomatic victory for Angola, and the decision of the UK government was a result of the diplomatic efforts of the Angolan government. This is the official statement by the Angolan government.
Why is it important for you to speak out now?
I think I've definitely gone through very difficult things, but I was definitely the object of a very strong negative media campaign. A lot of that media campaign was, in a way, fueled or instructed or manipulated by the Lorenzo government.
President Isabel dos Santos, how does that sound?
It's a possibility. Today's early days for me to say because obviously it's still our elections are in 2027, but I do have strong political views and strong political position.